Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Oh, that was a bit of a rough transition, wasn't it? This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. And we welcome you back after our fortnight break with the presentation from Tas Maritime Radio, which was a full house, and we got to go across to the TMR facilities next door. So a great talk. Hello, Anthony, VK7LAG. Good evening. So yeah, tonight we've got a bit of a mixed bag tonight. A few bits and pieces that we're going to be going through. And I might get, if they're listening in next door, if Richard VK7ZBX, calling VK7ZBX, into the studio, that'd be great. Just a reminder, I am monitoring the chat channel, YouTube chat channel. I am also well, that worked.
Hi, mate.
Hello, Richard. How would you be? Can you just close the door?
Sure.
There's an awful lot of people out. Oh no, they just closed that door. That's all right. That's good. Okay.
How far would you be if I hadn't called you back?
So, welcome, Richard.
Thank you very much.
And I was just reminding people, YouTube chat channel, and also we're listening on Repeater 2 as well, so you can call in on either of those. We've got Anthony LAG on the chat channel, and please do drop your name or your call sign or something into just to indicate that you're actually watching on the chat channel, because it helps us out. Now, I've got Richard in the studio because Richard was a keen participant in last weekend's Trans-Tasman.
As was your good self.
Low band, yes, yeah. I actually wasn't going to be, but then I decided I was going to be.
You just couldn't put up with the ridicule of
so
us
it worked.
just giving you
It worked.
heaps of grief. Oh, where were you just?
It worked. So yeah, how did it go for you?
Look, it was good fun. They're always good fun, but it really sort of demonstrates the shortcomings of your station.
Okay.
And being primarily a VHF sort of UHF
Yep.
microwave guy, my 80 metre setup is less than optimal.
How's the 160 metre setup?
But look, no, well, it's a bit hard to tell. Like I worked into ZL on 160.
Excellent.
Worked into VK6 on 80, which for me was pretty
Nice.
exciting.
Nice.
But I just still can't get over how many of the signals I heard were so strong. And you'd call back and they go, "Oh, look, mate, sorry, I can't pull you out of the noise." And you're like, "Really? Is there that much difference? Because, like, mate, you sound like you're at my front door."
Yeah.
And I think it's hard too. A lot of the signals that you hear, it's a combination of a strong radio signal, and some of them have just got really, really punchy audio.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, and it makes a lot of difference.
And in fact, that's a good point. And I suspect at our next presentation night, Martin is probably going to emphasise
Compressor.
he's done a lot of work around making your voice punch
EQing the audio so that
through.
you get...
Well and truly. So
It's like in our little group, particularly that I heard of the local guys, Gary, JGD, had fantastic audio. Like,
and you hear it.
and it wasn't necessarily that strong a signal, but
No.
it sounded very loud.
But you could pick him up.
Oh.
Like if there was a dog pile, you'd be able to
That's
pick
right.
up, you know, Juliet Golf Delta or something, or VK7.
It was just right out in front, which was fantastic. So, but look, we had a bit of fun.
So what were your antennas and rig? That's
So the rig was just a 9100, the
Okay.
Icom 9100, which sort of does
barefoot.
Barefoot.
Yep. Okay.
And the antenna is one of those Australian-made 3-wire.
Oh, not Moonraker.
The other mob that makes is
TET Mtron. No.
the other one. Anyway, it's
Bushcom. Bushcom.
So they make 3 versions of this one with the 3 sort of parallel wires.
Okay.
And I think the one I have is probably about 50 or 60 metres long. It's quite long.
Wow.
So there's a lot of wire in the air.
Yep.
And it's got that funky resistor termination in the middle that when you read books and listen to people, there's lots of
Flaws and against.
ill comments, as you say, for and against. It appears to be. It appears to the radio to be resonant everywhere, which sort of straight away makes you a little bit anxious because this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty good compromise antenna, and
Okay.
it works well because it's actually Murray's antenna, and I'm storing it in the air for him.
Oh, excellent.
We actually have tried to store it on the ground, but
just doesn't work.
80 metres of wire all coiled up just ends badly.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So thank you to Murray.
Yeah. But look, I think you hear lots of people that use different antennas, and it sort of opens up the experimentation of, like, I want to try and improve at least 80 and 40.
Yep.
So I want to sort of try chucking up a couple of dipoles, like a fan dipole.
Yep. Okay.
And just have a bit of a play. But I think the trick is, in my very youthful innocence with HF, is you need to make an antenna that's resonant on the band that you want to work on.
You're guaranteed it will actually work.
So you want to have a good antenna for 40 metres and build a 40 metre dipole. And then, you know, if you want to go on 100 and there's end feds, I suppose, but I'm thinking just half-wave dipoles, fed in the middle.
Okay. Well, I can tell a similar tale. I actually changed both my antennas.
Because I heard you on 160 at one point, and even 80, and you were like not there.
And the reason why was I was using
Alex in the radio trick.
No. I made a decision at the start to use. Now it's an antenna that I put up principally for a receiving antenna, and it consists of about 20 metres of wire in the air, about 8 metres in the air, and 20 metres of counterpoise underneath that antenna, which just runs along the low rail of the fence.
Yep.
And it comes back to a balun, and don't ask me whether it's a 4-to-1 or a 1-to-1 or what it is. Anyway, it's a balun that in fact, I think it might even be one of my old man's baluns that I brought with me, and I went, okay, righto, let's do that. So I put it in, and I use it primarily for a 30-metre receiving antenna,
Okay.
and it works really well.
Yep.
It's actually not that far from, and that's, 30 metres. It's about a 20-metre length. It works pretty reasonably, and so I thought, okay, let's see how that performs, and here we go. We've got we've got the Tasmanian Bluegrass Association, which would be Ken, from the Gold Coast. So
good on you, Ken. I had
hello,
a chat to
Ken.
Ken last night to hopefully
there you go.
sort of help him get on. So that's great.
I love it. And we've got Harry. So Harry's out in the club rooms, and we've got Josh A. Greetings from the tech space on the Gold Coast. Well, there you go. VK4JNA. So g'day, Josh. Glad you could be here. And we've got Ken as Ken.
That's Ken.
As Ken, and
enough.
we've got the Tasmanian Bluegrass Association as well. Love
No
it.
disguise tonight.
I love it. Oh, very good. So I thought, I'm going to use my newfangled box, which is the ATU 100, which I showed on a previous episode. I would use it because I haven't actually used this in anger.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, so I put this on the antenna, and I could actually get respectable SWR on both 160s, 80 and 40. And I thought, that's pretty good. I can deal with that. So I was actually using that antenna to start with. But then I realised after I was getting, really difficult to hear you, can't hear you, and I'm pumping 100 watts into this thing, and I'm going, something's not right here, and I sort of went, I didn't go out and see whether the ballon and the plastic box had melted, but I haven't actually done that yet. But I thought, no, just great receiving antenna, maybe not quite so good on transmitting.
Yep.
So I went back to, for 80 and 40, I went back to my G5RV,
Okay.
which I did continue to use this on, and really, really like this. Really quick to tune, and I could get well and truly acceptable SWR. And the really nice thing about this little display is it tells you both forward and reverse power, and the corresponding SWR on the actual display. So I just left that literally there. And the other thing I discovered, which I didn't know about this, was if you tune it and turn it off, they're obviously latching relays.
Okay.
Because it maintains the match that it had before.
Wow, that's cool.
Really nice. So I changed the G5RV over. For 160 metres, I did a really, really quick retune of my 630 metre Marconi T.
Okay, yep.
Which I know performs on 160 metres, and I should have just retuned that to start with. But I know, because I've used that in other contests on 160 metres. So basically, the NDB ATU that I use to tune that, you are using about 2 or 3 turns of the coil. Whereas for 630 metres, like you're using 20 turns of the coil. And bear in mind, the coil's sort of sort of round. Okay. So you're using like 2 or 3 of these turns. And that I did also connect it up so that I could tune that antenna with this, but I must have had it pretty close because this didn't do very much at all to actually match it. So that's what I ended up using for the rest of the time. And on 160 metres, I certainly made quite a few contacts into ZL on 160. That was great. And VK4s, VK2s, VK3s.
Including those VK3s that were horrendously loud.
Huge.
Man.
They were huge signals. Especially, I think it was 3EW. It was EW, I think. The guy that came up about half an hour before the end of it and started doing 160 metre contacts, he was thumping in.
Some really loud signals on there. That made me very sad.
On 160 metres, and you sort of go, wow, what sort of power and all sorts of stuff. Oh, we've got Tony. Hello, Tony VK7VKT, and I've got a shout out to you, Tony, in a short while. So we've got your drone footage. I'm not quite sure how successful we're going to be in playing it because I suddenly realised my media box wouldn't play it. Now I might try it on the other media box and see, but we'll see how we go. But so I was using. I intended to use my HP SDR, but I ended up not using it. I used the FT847 just into the G5RB and also the 160 meter. So that was my setup, and I got 60 contacts over the time. It was really I stuck on a frequency a couple of times and then just sort of gave up.
I couldn't get my voice keyer to work on the 9100.
Okay.
I thought it worked, but yeah, the old cold solder joint in the push to talk line.
Hate that.
So I tried, and I must admit I've never been fortunate enough or whatever to grab a frequency that's actually. So normally if it's busy, it's like. So I found a frequency and sort of called and went. So then I went hunting.
Yeah.
And then I went to 160 and I heard this couple of guys chatting on 160 about that guy from VK7 that had the really sort of poor signal that was calling lots. I'm going, I know who that is. But look, I think too, probably I'm reasonably fortunate that I live a bit out of town and my noise floor on 80 metres is probably
well and truly
S1.
Yeah,
like, you know, a few crashes might go to S3 or 4, you know, so...
You lucky thing.
You're lucky. Thinking along the same lines there, but yeah. So, and I think that's often, even if you've got the same equipment each end and the propagation's good, if someone's got like an S9 plus 20 dB noise floor, then
forget it. You've got to be over that to start
that's
with.
Right. So, and no amount of antenna gain or amplification is going to overcome that. So,
no, well and truly. So I ended up with about 60 contacts, and that was most of that was hunting. Yep. So I just, and in fact, even
did you do anything on 40?
No, I listened.
One contact on 40.
I listened on 40 about 3 or 4 times over the 3 segments, and did not hear a thing.
Oh, except for our friends in the. There were some signals that they weren't hams.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, no, further up. Yeah. But no, I made no contacts on 40
I think I made one. I talked to Hayden.
Okay. Hayden made the comment that he could see me obviously on the waterfall going up and down the band because Hayden was absolutely like he was 60 over 9 to me, and I think I was 60 over 9 back to him. Because we were so close, and so he was just saying, I was watching you go up and down the band as I was hunting. So.
Well, his solution worked really well. He had that DX Commander antenna.
Vertical?
Yeah. And I think, I'm not sure if they do 80 natively.
Okay.
But he said that he joined a piece of wire at the top and ran it across another tree, so effectively made an inverted L.
Yeah, okay.
And look, he wasn't really strong at home.
Okay.
But he was getting heard.
No,
he was working lots that sort of couldn't hear me. So, like, you know, again.
And I don't know what you heard, but the one score, the highest score I heard was about 260 odd.
Yeah.
And that was in the last sort of half an hour, and I sort of went. I actually commented to the guy. I said, "You have done fantastically well."
Yeah.
And I just you know, you do the whole thing
of... was it 2 EFM?
2 FM.
Yeah.
And you do the sort of mental arithmetic every time, because each 2 hours you recontact those people, which actually works against your score, but that's another story. If you contact different people in each block...
you're better off to actually contact new people,
That's how you get the points. Yeah. So you sort of, you contact them and you go, okay, they're at 25 and I'm at 1, like, and then you go contact them in the second hour and they, you know, they're at like 150 and you go, how do you get there?
Yeah. But that's like that VK Shires. I looked at the results that were on the site.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of a crack at that, and I think I came lucky 13th. I think I made 58 QSOs, and Catherine, who I think won it again, made 300 and something. I'm like,
correct.
How the hell do you do that?
She's got a fantastic... Her and John, I think it is. Correct me, sorry, John, if it's not. But they have a really good... And
they know what they're doing.
They're in the middle of nowhere. No noise.
But they've done it once or twice before too.
Correct.
Sort of.
Correct. So yeah, really good station, and really less noise. So anyway, that's the Trans-Tasman.
Yeah, that was good fun. Like, we'll have another crack next year for sure. But
Well, true. Now I'll just jump in here. You can relate to this, I think. I came across there is a Facebook group that I'm on called Australian Transmitting Sites.
I take pictures of transmitting.
Oh,
sites?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not Australia. It's just transmitting sites. Anyway, I managed to see a post of a installation, and the thing that caught my eye was it is a Tasmanian site. And then I saw a little story that somebody posted, and I went, I think I know who that is. That's Jason Riley, VK7ZJA, who works for Optus, I think. Transmitter Sites of Australia Facebook page.
Ah, okay.
Now, he talked about, he said, oh, I recognise that site, and he said, I have a funny anecdote about this particular site. We had a microwave shot from St Mary's to South Sister to Scamander at this particular, and the South Sister to Scamander hop would always get rained out. It's an 18 gig link, but the design budget said we had loads of margin. After going to both ends multiple times to realign dishes, 18 gigs from memory, we couldn't squeeze another dB out of the link, and yet it still got rained out. Or so we thought. It became apparent that during the rain the link was fine. It was only after the rain had passed that the link would fade. Then come back a few hours later. The cause was eventually traced to the Scamander end of the dish and ODU being mounted on a wooden telephone pole, which would absorb the rainwater and swell and twist and put it out of alignment. I love it. Just enough to affect the alignment. A steel pole was sunk and no more problems.
That old chestnut.
And I thought I'll read that out with Richard here because
I can attest to the link budget's this. You need to go back and squeeze another 2 dB out of it. It's like, really.
And at 18 gigs, I assume not quite as bad as 80 gigs, but at 18 gigs.
80 gig ones you can't sneeze, you blow it out of alignment. But even because you've got like little sort of lobes on the antenna, and sometimes like if you've got a link budget that you've got to get to, you can normally sight them pretty good. And normally sort of be within 10 dB, and you can just tweak it up and you'll come right. But sometimes you'll be within 5 or 6 dB of the target, and you'll peak it up and you'll go, no amount of peaking will get any better, and you're just on that small lobe, and it just.
And then you do the bolt up and everything turns.
Well, no, because you've just got to go that little bit more, and you know the other guy will move his end, and you'll move your end, and the other guy will move his end. You'll go, no, I'm still 6 dB short of the target. You're like, So then you go, okay. So then you just keep turning it, and the guy reading out the numbers or whatever will just go like 55, 60, 69, 71, lost the link. You go, and then they go, oh, hang on a minute, it's back, and then you'll pick it up on that. And that'll be the right low.
Okay. But anyway, I thought, and it's a Tasmanian example.
That's a cool story.
Oh dear. So, what we might try now, and I'm not sure whether this is going to work or not, is now let me just try. It won't work in. That one. What's going on here? Just bear with me. I think I need to turn that on. Do I need to turn that on? No, we might go with the PC. That's better. Now that's what we want. And now let's come back to here. Bring this across. Make that big. Now, if I do that. Now, this is some drone footage that Tony, who I think still online, took up at the domain before the WICEN AGM on Sunday. So now Tony made the point that he's still learning how to drive the drone, but I think he did a pretty good job here. Now, this was jumping around the last time I played this, so I'm not quite sure whether this is going to work. Let's push the button and see what happens. Oh, I think it's going to be the same. That should be a smooth takeoff. And it's...
That's odd.
Oh, we're getting probably every 25th frame or something. And that's going to jump to the top of the tower. So this is basically going up to the top of the tower that we've got outside the club rooms here, and up to the top, and then do a bit of a sweep around. As you can see, Sunday was actually quite a nice day. It was the sun was shining. That's off to Mount Wellington. Bit of snow on Mount Wellington.
You can see why on VHF you do so well from here.
Well,
Like,
truly.
Sort of 6.2, 7, even 12.96, like wow.
And there's what we're pointing at, which is the organ pipes. So it's just, come on. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it? Let me just stop that. Oh, that's the car park. That's Cornelian Bay. That's pointed sort of northeast. Yeah, northeastish. Wait, let me just. We'll come
So
back.
for a walk in the Black Forest.
Yeah. I should have that on quick play on the cartridge. And now for a walk in the Black Forest. Let me just go to desktop, and I'll try with another open with VLC.
Oh, VLC, yeah. Only VLC can't play it.
It's the same problem.
How was that encoded? I wonder. Goodness.
I'm not sure how that was encoded. Oh, okay. No, that's disappointing. And it won't play in the media players, which is another bit of a giveaway. That there's obviously something a bit weird with that encoding. It does play all right though at home on VLC. So I wonder what's different. Anyway, we'll cut that short. So apologies, Tony. I'll find out and encode it in a slightly different way, and see how we can bring it in next week. And in fact, if Tony's out and about with it, and I think Tony goes on leave.
He's actually coming up here tomorrow night. I'm
there
meeting
you
him
go.
up here tomorrow night for some.
There you go. I love it.
Some things. So.
Cool. So, what I was going to do was just give you a bit of an idea. The WICEN held its WICEN Tasmania South held its AGM and general meeting up here on Sunday, and I have to say a huge thank you to Tony VK7VKT, who put on a 3-course meal.
Wow.
So we had soup, a wonderful roast meal, and cheesecake for the princely sum of $10. So I just found fantastic, and we got nothing but great comments about the lunch from the WICEN crew.
Good work.
So thank you very much to Tony, and also XYL Christina, who was up afterwards. So the office bearers for this year. Some familiar faces in here. There is Cedric, who is VK7CL, who's continuing as president. The Secretary Public Officer is new, is Anthony, VK7LAG, who is online. So congratulations, Anthony. Treasurer is David, VK7DMG, who will be familiar to Reast people because he's our
bag man too.
Reast treasurer. Yes. Operations officer is Rod VK7TRF. Our equipment officer is VK7JGD, and those positions haven't changed. And then the two committee members are yours truly and also Jackson VK7JAX, Jackson Foggo, and those positions haven't changed either. However, website got a bit of a Guernsey during the meeting, and we have a new website person. Who is charged with refreshing and doing things with the website, and that will be Lee Jordan VK7LEE, who is probably out next door. So, few changes in there, and some exciting times for WICEN ahead. So that's what we got up to then.
Stuff.
Now, the latest copy of AR Magazine was turned up out of the blue.
Excellent.
Out of the blue, here we go. And if I go wide, oh, that's as wide as it is. So, with a big feature on Southern Hemisphere's biggest hamfest, which is Wyong. And there's a whole lot of guys here with ex-military man-pack type radios. So that's now, excuse me, Richard. I'm going to turn my back to you.
That's okay.
So what's in this particular edition? This is volume 89, number 4 for 2021. So there's a bit of an editorial. Last board comment from Greg VK7GPK. He has handed it on to Scott Williams. Bit about WIA news. Silent key notice for Bill Roper, sorry, not a silent key notice.
Steady.
Reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. Bill got a OAM in the Australia Day Honours, so and he is very much still alive. So it's a bit about what he got the OAM for. Bill Roper, and for those who don't know, Bill for a long time was actually part of the editorial committee for AR Magazine. Is now also RAOTC editor for their magazine, which is a great read. Little section on memories, Mayhem 2021, which is Wyong. So this is the article, Central Coast Field Day, Wyong. Which was held on the 30th of May, and it shows some pictures of the event and also a description. WIA Spectrum Committee news. Now, there you go. This is, and the picture here is will be familiar to some. That's the segment that some of the committee and the board did with Hayden on the class license changes. So this is a bit about what we've been up to. I'm actually on that committee, so that was what we've been doing. Part 2 of the Unravelling the Mystery of Connecting Radios to Antennas by Brian Clark. So this is part 2. Now, continuing with WIA news, streaming video over internet protocol for amateur radio by Murray Green, who is K3BEQ. Whilst he's going along here in his truck, so very interesting article. How does a tandem match Stockton Bridge work? By Jim Tregellis, VK5JST. So this is a bit scary with the amount of maths that's in this, but anyway, I'm sure Jim describes it well. Silent keynotes. The VK3 AEQZ HF antenna tuner program, which I recognised the boards in there a little bit. So this is the first article of a number for the antenna tuning unit. And the construction tips. Brisbane VHF group mixes it up. Now this is their beacon, and we saw this at Gibbs Tech.
Is it Peter VK4EA?
Peter Schrader, who is a new WIA director. Yeah. So he gave a talk on how they actually do this. very interesting. They mix. They have a common oscillator, which they then mix up and down to get the various VHF and UHF and microwave frequencies. So very interesting little article. WIA Awards by Mark Hillman, and who's the standings in those particular awards. DXer of the Year, Over to You, which is a fascinating article. I actually commend that to everybody. It's titled RPL or not RPL. That is the question, which is very interesting about amateur radio qualifications. A section on Alara by Jenny, VK3WQ, and it's got Florence Mackenzie in here. DX Talk by Steve Kennedy, VK6ZJA. So this is all about DXing and the DX activity that's happened in the last couple of months. Australia is a quintuple winner of the Commonwealth contest by Steve Ireland, VK6VZ. The Meteor Scattered Report by Kevin Johnson, VK4UH. And it's got a picture of Kevin. Now, some people don't actually know, this is Kevin at work. He's actually a surgeon. So that's him in the operating theatre. Soda and Parks with Alan Harvey. Silos on the Air. This is the new one with an article about who's been activating silos around the place. And in fact, there's a couple in here around that have been activated in Tasmania by Eric, VK7EV. Oh. So there you go. And that's and the IC705 advertising on the back. So that's the latest and greatest amateur radio magazine, number 4 for 2021. A great read, available in a number of newsagents right at the moment, and it's appeared. It actually appeared before the digital version appeared in my inbox, which is a little bit rare.
Unusual.
So yeah. Now, just to finish off,
something I prepared earlier.
the latest dumpster dive.
You really need to see someone about this problem.
I went to my doctor and he gave me drugs, but they were yeah. Anyway.
Then you went to his bin. So.
Then I looked at his dumpster on the way out, and oh my god, I just couldn't help myself. Now, this is an interesting looking power supply. It's about just under a metre long, I reckon. Something like that, or it could be
600,
a metre. 600,
well,
700, maybe 650. Interesting, it has, the connectors are at 2 levels, so this is the 240 volt input, and then there is the low voltage output and also some control pins in the middle there. These are out of
HP or HP?
It's HP.
Yeah.
HP
Blade servers.
Blade servers. That's what I was looking for. So HP blade servers, and in the particular blade server that this came out of, there are 6 of these in the bottom of this blade server. The output of these are 12 volts at 200 amps.
It's 5 volts at like 2 amps or something too.
Yeah. 5 volts at 1 amp. And 12 volts at 200 amps. And of course at 200 amps, if you're drawing 200 amps, this is a 2450 watt input. So that's a fully loaded PowerPoint normal GPO if you're actually drawing the 200 watts out of it. So we grabbed these. They were all going in the e-waste bin, which I think is absolutely criminal. Correct. And so we'll see what we can do. We could probably make them into a spot welder or a welder.
Couple of them in series, maybe.
Anyway, that's the latest out of the dumpster. A blade server power supply, and we have a number of them. So yeah, and all very nicely made. they're HP labelled. They are made in China, but obviously to HP specs. They do have all the right symbols on them, which I don't think are like the CTIC here does actually have a N279. Now that means that it's the Northern Territory, and 279 is something that you can actually look up for the certification. But there are the others, the European ones.
Interesting to fire it up and see what it sounds like on HF.
Well and truly. So the interesting thing also is it has double pole fusing on it. So the neutral and the active are fused.
Okay.
So you don't see that very often, but there's obviously a reason for it.
Any earthing issues?
Well and truly. And I don't know whether it's to do with the fact that these are hot swappable. You can take these out and the blade server suddenly doesn't switch itself off or go off.
See,
so
the data center going, what, they go quiet.
Yeah, you don't really want that. But anyway, that's 12 volts at 200 amps. So anyway,
impressive.
We'll see what we can do with those. Now we go heading out into the back into the studio. We have VK7BEN produces a kit for a VHF UHF Moxon handheld satellite antenna, which Ben donated to Xavier VK7 XHJ. Yeah, I was going to say HXT, but that's Harry, his brother. So yeah, we're heading out to finish that off, and what we might do is maybe show you, take some photos of it, and we can show it to you next week. So that's we've cut all the elements, we've put them on the boom. We've just got to do the matching, and then we've got a transmitter out there with a SWR bridge that we can hook up and see what the story is. So yeah. So that's our. And thank you, Richard, for being in the studio.
It's always great to be here.
Just to finish off some reminders, our up-and-coming presentation nights, and Richard features in the next one. Our August presentation night, which is on August the 4th of Wednesday the 4th of August, is a joint effort, contesting with Martin VK7GN, who'll be covering HF, and our very own Richard here, VK7ZBX, covering VHF and above. So looking forward to that. Our September presentation night, which is the Wednesday the 1st of September, is a P25 emergency services network that is being stood up in Tasmania, and a talk about that particular installation. So by Andrew VK7 Alpha Juliet. And October, already talking about October, Sunday. Now this is a Sunday, so what we're thinking about doing is having a bit of a barbecue and then a presentation on the Sunday. And the reason for that is I know Peter wants to actually set up some of the military antennas.
He's got to come from Lonnie, so.
Correct, outside, so he can come down in the morning. We can do the presentation and then he can go back, and it's all very comfortable. So instead of trying to do it at night. So, and also Kim Briggs, VK7KB, will be bringing along some of his military radios. So should be good.
There'll be plenty of kit.
Well and truly, hands-on sort of kit. So quickly, our videos tonight. A bit of an interesting bag. There is one from Paul Pruss, which is around IoTs. So Internet of Things, and an interesting video from a ham. Is the Apollo 11 lunar module still orbiting the moon after 52 years?
Wow.
And that's a fascinating little video that uses a freely available tool, which is an orbital tool that NASA make available to anybody. You can put in the parameters and the time and run this tool, and this is what the guy that does this talk actually does, and he comes to the conclusion that it is quite possible that the Apollo 11 lunar module is still orbiting the moon. because in all of the parameters that he's able to get hold of, and he puts that into the tool, it's probably still going.
Wow. That's helpful.
Now, there's a couple of always very cool military videos in there, which is the US are currently testing their new aircraft carrier. This aircraft carrier cost $13 billion.
Of course it did.
Now, this aircraft carrier, the interesting thing about this aircraft carrier is it is bigger than their biggest aircraft carrier. It's the Ford class, after Gerald Ford. And instead of using a steam-powered catapult, it uses an electromagnetic powered...
like a rail.
Like a railgun.
Holy moly.
So, this is... and it's a... I assume this is what they can release. Like... and it looks a bit of a mean piece of kit. And the other thing is just an interview with one of the Lockheed Skunk Works test pilots, talking about him being the test pilot for the F-117 stealth bomber.
I'll see what he's allowed to say.
Well, he's quite candid, actually. So I just, I came across this quite by accident, and it's just fascinating to listen to him talk about all the different aspects and how he became a test pilot and how he got into Lockheed and the Skunk Works factory and the program to build the F-117. So,
Yeah, cool.
Anyway, so that's our videos for our RF viewers. So that's our program for tonight. So 73, and we'll catch you next week with another grab bag of stuff, and I hope we'll have the drone video in a format that we can actually play. So and maybe some even some more hint Tony. anyway, 73 people, and we'll catch you next week.
73. Cheers.